What's up everybody, this is Brenton Brown from Forza Tuning and Performance, and we got some pretty cool stuff on this video for you today, so let's get started. So I'm just welding this cart up for the guys. They wanted a, we got a couple metal carts that we, roll around like engine cradles and engines and stuff. They're, they work out good, so they wanted a couple more. So I'm just welding one together. Just gonna tack weld on these plates. Well, I'm gonna tack it and weld them on the bottom. And I could MIG weld this, but I've got the TIG over here, so I'm just gonna TIG weld them just for the hell of it. These plates will be what the casters bolt to. Instead of just welding the casters straight to the cart, I'll put these plates on, drill them, we'll actually bolt them on, and I'll just drill some recesses in the bottom of the wood. That way you can take them off if you ever wanted to, or change them out or something. You could throw these on here. This doesn't have to be anything, this precise, obviously, but if you're gonna do it, you might as well make it even. So I'm just gonna line up the center line of the hole with the center line of the angle. And I'll just clamp them on and then put a couple tacks on there to hold it, and then I'll run a couple beads on it. So I just went ahead and put a few tacks on it, and obviously this does not need to be TIG welded. This is just regular steel, it's hot rolled steel, but I have the TIG over here, and I like TIG welding better than MIG welding. So we're just gonna TIG the brackets on. So obviously there's a couple passes, nothing spectacular. Like I said, I don't weld every day, I just kind of do it for fun, or if we have something we got to fab up. Sitting like this, you're not really in a comfortable position, and obviously that makes a big difference. TIG welding, it's good to be comfortable. This thing's rocking on the ground, and I don't really have a good, I didn't make provision to prop my hand, so I'm just kind of freehanding the torch. It's a little bit shaky, and I just started welding it too. But I mean, it doesn't look too bad. And obviously this is way overkill. This is just an engine stand or a cart we can use around the shop. This is basically, I'm just practicing TIG welding really, in the process of making something. So everything went pretty smooth with the Demon. We already had a transport scheduled earlier in the week, and then the owner showed me this video with this cool LED purge deal that he wanted. So I had to track down exactly what it was, find one, get it next day aired. It was actually an LED kit made by Zex, okay? And this is what it is. It's basically just an LED pod, and they made this little billet, bracket, and then your nitrous purge line goes up through this hole, okay? And pretty easy, and you just tighten the set screw, and then you just wire your power and ground to your purge solenoid, so every time it kicks on, it lights up the LED. So the color we got was red, and we originally had the nitrous purge lines coming out through both headlights. Honestly, this thing's pretty damn cool. I saw a video of it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. So what we're gonna do is we're going to relocate the purge, and we're gonna have it coming up the very middle of the windshield, kind of like about the angle of the windshield, maybe a little bit, not quite as, angle is steep, whatever. So we're gonna put it in a cowl. So if you're gonna do this, what you wanna do, obviously, is mark your center line of your windshield. And then we have the cowl off this Demon. So no matter what car you do, you're probably gonna have the wiper transmission or all the linkage for the windshield wipers underneath there. So you have to make sure that where you install this is also gonna clear the windshield wipers when they're actually moving. So we've marked the center line of the windshield, and then we've drilled our cowl right here, and we verified that the windshield wiper linkage clears. We knew we were gonna mount it right there on the wiper cowl, but the angle would have just been ridiculous looking. It would have been shooting forward away from the windshield. So that was a little issue. We had very little room underneath the cowl because of the wiper transmission, the linkage. So Luckily, called buddy Frank from Integral Machine, and he kind of saved my ass. He 3D printed me a piece that matched the profile and the cowl perfectly. Put it at about a 45-degree angle from what it was. Okay, so Daniel's putting this nitrous purge deal we showed you all already on the car, and we had to get this piece 3D printed, and we had it material where it would match the cowl. Basically just because the way it was, you know, obviously if it was spraying like this, it'd be at a really strange angle. So we wanted it kind of in more direction at the angle of the windshield, a little bit more. So we just made this on a 45-degree angle. So Daniel's just gonna attach it, then we'll wire this up to the purge solenoid. So basically every time the purge solenoid activates, this will light up and it'll be red, and we'll show y'all what that looks like. Okay, so before we show you the purge system that we just set up, I'll go through the whole car, then basically the nitrous system, and I'll show it all to you. So we'll start off with the back, or actually let me show you the inside. And right in here, Nitrous outlet makes this really cool plate for the Challenger platform that goes right in where the little coin holder is, and it houses the button, so it looks super stock. So what we're gonna do is, you have 4 buttons on here. You have arm, heater, bottle opener, which this car does not have, and then the purge, okay? So to start off the system, we're gonna turn the car on and push the arm. And then you're gonna see the Nitrous Pro Max controller light up. So you're gonna see all kinds of stuff, bottle pressure, you know, RPM, there's as many inputs as you wanna put in there. So next, you have a heater button, which is gonna turn on the bottle heaters, obviously, but something a little bit different that we do is when you turn on the bottle heater, the button itself has a red LED that tells you you've turned it on. But what it doesn't tell you is there's no feedback to tell you, is the heater actually on or is it cycled on or off, okay? So what we do is we wired in an extra LED right here. You can see it on, and that's telling me that I know that the heater are on right now, because they will come on and then cycle off to maintain a certain bottle pressure. And then in the back, we wire up some other LEDs, and you can see them, and they're just underneath the bottle heater bracket. We just did them in red to try to, you know, make a complement color to the car, the heater. So what'll happen is those heaters will come on, they'll raise the bottle pressure to a predetermined pressure that we've adjusted out. Once it reaches that pressure, the heaters will kick off, okay? And then the bottles will gradually cool, so the pressure will drop. Once it hits a certain predetermined point, they'll cycle back on. That way you have a consistent bottle pressure all the time, and the heaters do it all by themselves. So we wire the lights in just so you can either look in your trunk and you can look right there on your console, and you can look at your bottle pressure and know, are the heaters on right now or are they off? Instead of reaching back here, reaching underneath, trying to see if they're hot or not. So just a small extra. So this is Nitrous Outlet's twin billet bracket assembly, and it's got the heaters built into the bottom. It's got the blow-by tubes you can see, so those are run underneath the trunk of the car. That's just a safety feature. If for some reason the bottle pressure got too high, there's a blow-off valve on there, and it would relieve the bottle pressure, and it would route the nitrous down underneath the car so it wouldn't hurt anything or be inside the car. These are carbon fiber bottles, which the customer requested, so those are 12-pound bottles. If you get a carbon, you can't get 15s. So you got a pressure gauge back there, you know, if you want to see on each individual bottle. So we'd reach, you know, come back here, turn our bottles on, and now you'll see on the Pro Max controller, you'll see the pressure displayed. So right there we have 812 PSI, and this will gradually go up as the bottles get hotter. So I'll show you underneath the hood. Now, on another video, we kind of went over this a little bit, and the way we set these cars up are, and you don't see a nitrous plate. So what we do is we plumb the supercharger so there's spray bars through the blower. And the reason we do that is because it will spray nitrous and fuel directly on top of each intake valve. So it's the most uniform delivery. It's spraying underneath the blower, and it makes the most power. So what you typically use, like a 50-shot pill, if you do it like this, it'll end up making around 100 to 125 horsepower using that small of a pill. So you don't use near as much nitrous, and the power is compounded a lot like that. You can see the solenoids on each side. You know, those will be one's nitrous, one's fuel. Then you have the purge solenoid. And what what we do is we set these up on a triple pump fuel system supplied by 4 Innovations. And we do that for a couple reasons. Number one, you have a ton of fuel flow for a lot of power, and you can set it up on a twin regulator system. So that's the way I like to do it. So I'll run the car off one fuel pressure regulator that's set at 58 PSI, and it's referenced 1-to-1 to boost, similar to the way the car would be. So then when we come off that, we run a second regulator, okay? So before it goes back to the tank, we set that regulator for 30 PSI. You can do 30 to 45. I usually do 30. That seems like where the nitrous and fuel solenoids are happiest. And that's set static, so it's a constant 30 PSI fuel pressure, then it returns back to the tank. So the reason we do that is because the nitrous and fuel solenoids are not really happy at extremely high fuel pressures. And on a Hellcat or anything that's boost reference like this, we're starting off at 58 PSI. And it's nothing on one of these high-powered cars for fuel pressure to be 90, 100 pounds. So what can happen is the solenoid can lock up, and you can have an instance where the solenoid will not activate and you can damage the engine very easily. So we set it up like this, that way the nitrous solenoids, it's the safest way in my opinion to do it. We redid the purge lines on it before it gets loaded up for transport, and actually transport is out waiting to pick this vehicle up, so we'll show you that too. So it's right here on the cowl. I'll show it to you. Probably easier if I shut the hood. So you see this little deal right here. So this is the kit. So this is your purge line coming through this aluminum block, and here's your LED. So what we did here is we just 3D printed this spacer to match the plastic on the cowl. That way we could put it at about a 45-degree angle, and it was kind of in line, look better. Obviously we don't want it shooting out like this and look kind of weird. Okay, now we're gonna show you the nitrous purge. The LED purge kit from Zex Nitrous, that thing's pretty badass. I mean, some people might not like it. I think it's cool as hell. It looks like a blowtorch with a light in it. Super easy to install, especially if you already have a nitrous setup and you've already got a purge, which you're going to anyway. It's literally 2 wires, tied in line, grounded, hook the positive up with the purge solenoid, and that's basically it. They give you a hardline kit. It's very self-explanatory, very easy. It looks cool. So this is just the outro. Yeah. So as you can see, we got the car loaded up. It's on a truck, it's headed for Nebraska. So the owner is super excited to get it, and honestly, we're super excited to get his reaction from the first time he does drive it. So that about wraps up for this week's video. Again, thanks for all the positive feedback. We appreciate it. If you like the videos, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you again next time.